For those who have seen the 2 parts of the It movie, this series is its prequel, where we will learn the origin of Pennywise. We saw that Pennywise returns after 27 years. That means the time of it, Chapter 2, was 2016. Chapter 1 was 27 years before that, which is 1989. So, based on that, the story of this series takes place in 1962. So, without further ado, let's start the explanation of Welcome to Derry. The events take place in 1962. At the Capitol Theater, the Music Man movie is playing. A boy named Matty Clement sneaks in using a pacifier to watch a free movie. This happens 3 times in 1 week. When the hall attendant, Cal, catches him, he takes something from Matty. When Matty sneaks out, Ronnie sees it but doesn't say anything to Cal. Ronnie's father, Hank, runs the movie theater. Ronnie intentionally sends Cal away to help Matty, but as soon as Cal leaves, he notices him again, though it's no use. On this cold winter night, when Matty is alone on his way out of town, no one wants to stop him, but a car stops and gives him a lift. The car is carrying a family to Portland. Mackie tells Matty that they can take him anywhere he wants except Derry, and they all drive on. The couple has 2 children and a baby. The youngest boy has a habit of making up words. When he keeps bothering Matty with that, his older sister, who is sitting next to him, dips her fingers into a box of raw liver and tries to make Matty laugh by letting him smell it. Matty suddenly notices a sign on the side of the road showing that they are turning back toward Derry. When he becomes suspicious, he asks to get out of the car. When he asks to be let down, they ignore him and increase the speed. When Maggie tries to get out of the car, she realizes that the door is locked. By then, everyone is behaving strangely, shouting, "Get out!" And the woman suddenly gives birth to a baby. But it is no ordinary baby because it looks like a demon. The baby spreads its wings and starts destroying the entire car, which the family seems to enjoy. In the middle of this incident, the demon baby attacks Matty, and his pacifier breaks off the car and falls into the canal beside the road. Matty has been missing since then. The story shifts 4 months later, and we see Phil. He is very curious about conspiracy theories, so whenever he gets time, he keeps an eye on the nearby Army airbase using binoculars. Meanwhile, the head of the airbase, the Colonel, gives a warm welcome to Major Leroy and Captain Polly. The person playing Polly is a multi-talented YouTuber in real life, named Rudy Mancuso. Both of them were previously posted in Korea. While showing them around the area, the Colonel tells them that this is the closest airbase to the Soviet Airways, so they must always be careful. However, in the midst of everything, the Colonel does not tell them about the secret project going on at the base. For now, Leroy will stay at the base until she finds a house to rent. Then we are introduced to Lily at school. No one likes her at school except her only friend, March. Everyone bullies Lily about the pickle jar, but March defends her. Now the question may arise, why the pickle jar? I will come to that later. Even though March is her friend, she wants to mix with the popular group in her class, because no one wants to mix with her due to Lily's strange behavior. So March is stuck between 2 sides. We see a turtle mascot at the school. In Stephen King's It universe, this turtle is a huge cosmic turtle, the opposite of it, or Pennywise. That is, if it represents evil, Maturin represents goodwill. You will see many references to this Maturin in the series. When General Shaw introduces Leroy to the airmen at the airbase, everyone salutes her except Masters. In fact, Masters is a racist coach, so the general threatens to court-martial Leroy as punishment for not saluting him. When they are told to come to the office around noon, another member named Halloran is seen keeping an eye on them. This Halloran has telekinesis and psychic powers, which allow him to enter the memories of victims. At night, Ted and Phil miss Matty a lot. It has been almost 4 months since they last heard from him. Even the police have not found his body. Poor Matty had no friends, yet he had invited them to his birthday, hoping they would come, but they didn't. Ted still regrets this. Lily's situation is similar. When she sees the bracelet Matty gave her, she remembers something. A few days before Matty went missing, Lily was with him. That day, Matty took her to a secret meeting room where Ted and Phil used to hang out. Of course, this is also a lie, because they never really cared about Matty. When Matty opened a packet of chocolates, Lily got a rocket toy from it, and Matty got a Maturin toy. During their conversation, it is revealed why everyone hated Lily. Actually, Lily's father worked in a pickle factory. One day, when Lily went to the factory with her mother, she dropped a newly bought ring inside. When her father went to retrieve it, he noticed that a machine in the next section was not working. Lily's father thought Lily had turned off the machine while trying to fix it, but it was still running. As a result, he accidentally got pulled into the machine and died. Lily blamed herself for her father's death and suffered from mental problems for a long time. She was even sent to Juniper Hill Mental Hospital, but she had such a terrible experience there that Lily is still afraid of that place. Because of this, her school friends tease her. It has been a year since her father's death, but even today, she does not have the courage to visit her father's grave. Then, on New Year's Eve, during the celebration, Matty moved closer to kiss Lily, but she was not prepared. After that night, Matty went missing. This suggests that he wanted to kiss her again, or maybe kiss her on the lips. Then, suddenly, Lily hears Matty's voice coming from the sink. At the same time, the song Trouble Trouble is playing, the same song that was playing in the theater during the Music Man movie. The couple in the car had also been singing this song earlier. Lily becomes extremely frightened when she sees a bloody finger coming out of the sink. The next day, when she tells March about this incident, March does not want to believe it at all, which is completely normal. Lily's mother tells her that if she wants to fit in with the popular group at school, she must stop saying these strange things. Otherwise, everyone will think she is crazy. But Lily is absolutely sure that she did not hear or see anything wrong. So Lily tells Ted and Phil about everything. Although Phil does not believe her, Ted becomes suspicious because many strange things have been happening to them for which they have no answers. During dinner, Ted asks his father whether kidnappers can abduct a child and keep them underground. His father replies that these are just excuses, saying that the Nazis captured Jews and used their skin to make lampshades. Ted's father becomes very angry after hearing such an absurd question. That night, after being scolded, Ted is terrified when he sees Maddie's face inside a burning lampshade in a nightmare. The next day, he tells Phil and Lily about this dream. First Lily, then Ted, maybe Phil will be the next target. But how is this possible? If anyone hears these stories, they could twist them and send the kids to Juniper Hill Mental Hospital. So before telling anyone else, they decide they must find out what really happened to Maddie that day. They take Phil's sister and go straight to the library. There was no real reason to bring Phil's sister, but there was no one at home, so they were forced to bring her along. At the library, they gather information about Maddie from old newspapers. The police initially believed she had run away from home, but after a long search, they declared her dead. She went missing on the evening of January 4 and was last seen by Ronnie, the daughter of Hank, an employee of the Capitol Theater. This leads them to meet Ronnie. However, Ronnie becomes angry as soon as she sees them because the police suspected her father in Maddie's disappearance for only one reason: he is black. They are all devastated by this, but when Lily hears the song Trouble Trouble from the Music Man movie, Ronnie is shocked and says that she also heard the same song coming from the pipes in the basement of the theater. Not only that, she says the children were calling her name from down there. Meanwhile, that night, Leroy is attacked by 3 assailants who come to gather information about the mission. When Leroy fights back, he kills them with the help of Polly. Later that night, Ronnie reaches the theater with everyone else because the song Maddie was singing Trouble Trouble is from the Music Man movie. They believe Maddie might be trying to give them clues through this song. Everyone is shocked when the Music Man movie starts playing because they see Maddie inside the film. He is holding something wrapped in cloth. When they try to talk to him, Maddie smiles like Pennywise and removes the cloth from the object. Suddenly, the demon baby emerges and mercilessly kills everyone. Ronnie and Lily somehow manage to escape the theater alive on this bloody night, but Lily is holding Phil's sister's severed hand. After the Capitol Theater incident, the police find no evidence because no bodies are discovered at the scene. According to Ronnie and Lily, Hank was not present at the theater during the incident. Hank's mother claims that he was at home all evening. Still, the police continue to suspect him solely because he is black. Because of this, Hank does not want Ronnie to return to school as it would only increase their problems. Meanwhile, Leroy moves to Derry and his family joins him, his wife Charlotte, and their only son, Will. When Charlotte waves at their neighbor in Derry, the neighbor ignores her, showing that racism is at its peak in this town. Will is a genius and has a deep interest in science, so Leroy gifts him a mini telescope. The next day, when Ronnie returns to school, she is seen with Lily and rumors immediately begin to spread. Lily does not want to be too close to Ronnie, but even after being warned, she does not pay much attention. That day is also Will's first day in class, and he is welcomed by bullies. When Leroy meets General Fuller regarding the incident from that night, he discovers that the attackers were not Soviet spies, but hired goons sent by Masters, who has already been punished for this. Fuller hopes that Masters will not repeat the same mistake. However, Leroy remains doubtful because the attackers were highly trained, and the weapons they carried could not have been operated by an ordinary soldier like Masters. Later, Charlotte goes to the market to enjoy the Derry Fair. There, people are arguing about the statue of Paul Bunyan. In Stephen King's universe, Paul Bunyan comes from American folklore and is portrayed as a giant lumberjack carrying a massive blue ox. Charlotte sees some men harassing kids on the street, and although no one else tries to stop them, she steps in herself. This shows that Charlotte is rebellious by nature. She believes that what is wrong, and she will stand against it no matter how many times she has to. When Charlotte returns home and discusses the incident with Leroy, an argument breaks out between them. However, that night turns out to be far worse for Ronnie. Something truly horrifying happens to her. She sees her dead mother in a terrifying vision and sees herself emerging from her mother's womb. In reality, Ronnie's mother died while giving birth to her. When Hank comes to her, the nightmare ends. In truth, Pennywise is haunting Ronnie by feeding on her deepest fears. Then we are shown a scene in a bar where 3 airman friends are chatting. One of them is Halloran, and the other 2 are Reggie and Jax. From their conversation, it is revealed that some black men are being questioned about the attack on Leroy, except Halloran, because he is on a secret spy mission. At that time, Chief Bowers is also present, and some people, including a counselor of Derry, insist on arresting Hank without any evidence. They indirectly say that if Hank is not arrested, they will transfer him. When Bowers feels pressured by this, he notices Halloran's group laughing and sends officers to keep an eye on them. Halloran sees the officers and walks with his group toward the airstrip. However, when they reach the main gate, a guard misbehaves with them. Halloran then speaks to the guard's superior officer and reveals his authority, after which the guard lets them go. The next morning, a military team is seen riding horses at a site. There, Fuller meets Halloran and tells him that they have already visited 3 other sites but have not found what they are looking for. He warns that if they fail again, all the special privileges given to Halloran will be cancelled. Halloran confidently says there is no chance of failure this time, because he can clearly sense what they are looking for. What exactly he is sensing will be revealed later. On the other hand, during tiffin time at school, Ronnie tells Lily about last night's incident and says, "It is back." She also asks Lily to tell the police about seeing the demon baby in the theater so that her father will not be arrested. However, Lily refuses to do so. She believes that if she talks about the demon baby, no one will believe her, and instead, she will be sent back to Juniper Hill Mental Hospital. She only agrees to say that Hank was not present at the scene. This leads to a fight between the two. Meanwhile, during tiffin time, a boy named Rich is seen talking to Will. This boy is really cool and becomes a standout character in the series. During their conversation, a mischievous boy throws a stink bomb and runs away. When Will tries to escape, he accidentally bumps into a teacher, who assumes Will is responsible. As a result, Will is punished, and this is where he meets Ronnie. While in detention, Ronnie sees the police taking Lily away for questioning. A police chief tells Lily that if she does not admit that Hank was at the scene, then because Lily had blood on her hands, she herself will become the main suspect and will be sent to Juniper Hill. Hearing this, Lily becomes terrified and falsely blames Hank to save herself, leading to Hank's arrest. That night, Ronnie goes to Lily's house and confronts her, but it leads nowhere. Instead, a distance forms between the two. The next day, when Leroy goes to meet Masters, he places the gun found at the scene in front of him and mentions his mother's name. Enraged, Masters tries to kill Leroy with the gun, but it fails to fire. This confirms that Leroy's suspicion is correct, that Masters was not among those who attacked him. When Leroy informs General Shaw about this, Shaw reveals that everything was a test to prove Leroy's abilities. Shaw wanted to see whether Leroy would reveal the country's secrets under extreme pressure. Because of this, Leroy is considered a perfect candidate for a secret spy mission. When Lily goes to the supermarket, Pennywise haunts her there as well. Wherever Lily goes, the aisle seems to block her path. Not only that, Phil sees Teddy Maddie's picture on a food box, and Lily sees her father's severed head screaming at her from a pickle jar. Suddenly, everything returns to normal. Lily is reported because of this incident, and her mother sends her back to Juniper Hill Mental Hospital. On the other hand, General Shaw takes them to see their secret project, where we learn about a plan called Operation Preset, designed to counter the Cold War between America and the Soviet Union. It is revealed that a powerful weapon was hidden underground in Derry long ago. This weapon can create extreme fear in people's minds, and is so powerful that people die as soon as they get close to it. By controlling or capturing it, they plan to create such fear in the minds of the Soviets that the war would be won before it even begins, while also saving their own soldiers. However, they know nothing about where this weapon came from, what it truly is, or how it works, and they need Leroy's help to locate it. Soon after, news arrives that something has been found near a bus stop. When General Shaw and Leroy reach the site, they discover an old car buried underground. Inside the car, they find several weapons along with human skeletons. At the beginning of episode 3, we are shown a carnival in 1908, where a child named Francis is wandering around the circus alone. Francis notices a lady clown who may be a human form of Pennywise. At the suggestion of a creepy man at the circus, Francis goes to see a horror show, where he encounters 2 twin girls, a clear reference to The Shining. As he walks further, Francis sees 2 glowing eyes, similar to the eyes of Pennywise. When a skeleton-like figure scares him in the dark, Francis runs away and meets his father. His father buys him a slingshot, making Francis very happy, and they begin heading home. However, when their car breaks down on the road, his father asks Francis to bring some money to buy water from nearby native people. Francis returns with less money than expected, but a girl named Rose gives him water instead of taking the slingshot. As the car repair takes time, Francis goes with them into the forest to play. While playing, Francis gets lost deep in the woods and is chased by a figure resembling the Skeleton Man. This is revealed to be another trick of Pennywise, who is feeding on Francis's fear. Pennywise is about to kill Francis when Rose suddenly shoots him with a slingshot and pulls Francis out of the forest. Shocked, Francis asks why the monster did not come out of the forest. The story returns to the present, that is, to the year 1962. Lily's mother, Juniper, has come to take her back from Juniper Hill. When Lily was brought here last time, the head housekeeper at the facility became familiar with her, and before leaving this time as well, he speaks with her again. He is the only person among everyone there who truly believes Lily's words. He assures her that everything will be fine with Ronnie, and tells her to be patient and wait for time to reveal the truth. Before Lily leaves, he gives her a bracelet and tells her to believe in herself. Meanwhile, Meanwhile, the policeman Chip is seen interrogating Hank, and he appears determined to prove in every possible way that Hank was present at the theater during the incident. Even the brand of cigarette pack found by the police chief at the scene is one that only Hank uses. Meanwhile, Ronnie is being isolated at school because of the false accusations made against her father. Seeing Ronnie's condition, Lily decides that she will tell the police the truth, but she knows no one will believe them, so they decide that they must capture the incident on camera at any cost. At the same time, the investigation turns toward the car that was recently discovered. This car is linked to the Bradley Gang massacre of 1935. It is said that when this violent gang arrived in Derry, the entire town mercilessly killed them. It is believed that Pennywise, or It, was behind this incident through mind control. Pennywise manipulates the people around it and increases their aggression. Because of this, the authorities are now using Halloran's powers to search for it, which was hidden somewhere in Derry many ages ago. Halloran's abilities are working, but they have very little time left, so they change their strategy and push Halloran to his limits. If something goes wrong, Leroy is there as backup. Shaw introduces Halloran to Leroy and Polly and sends them in a helicopter to search for it. The box that Shaw gives Halloran contains an object connected to the year 1908. The significance of Francis's mistake is revealed when the child named Francis touches Halloran. Through this contact, Halloran uses his telekinetic powers to guide Leroy to move the helicopter to a different location. When they reach the correct position, Halloran sees a sign of the dancing clown on a closed door, with Pennywise behind it. Pennywise asks Halloran who he is, and at the same time, Halloran sees visions of the Bradley Gang massacre and the 1908 carnival incident. When Pennywise begins haunting him, Halloran almost opens the helicopter door and tries to jump out, but Leroy catches him and saves him. Shaw later meets with Halloran and tells her the full truth, saying that the entity they want to use for the Cold War is far more powerful than they imagined. Shaw begins to question whether what they are doing is right. On the other hand, Ronnie and Lily meet with Will and ask for his help in developing the camera footage, since Will has good knowledge of chemicals and related processes. Shaw then visits a woman's shop, where it is revealed that the woman is none other than Rose, Francis's childhood native friend. Shaw tells her to leave Derry. At Prague, he admits that he had forgotten everything about the past, even Rose herself. But after returning to Derry, all his memories mysteriously came back. Rose explains that Derry is like that the farther people go from it, the more they forget their memories of the place. But we know that this forgetting happens because of Pennywise. Shaw tells Rose that they are working on a digging site nearby and asks for her help so that her tribe's sacred land and cemetery are not disturbed. He does not want Rose's people to face trouble with the police. Rose agrees to help. Rose agrees. In the evening, Leroy invites Halloran to his house. During their conversation, Halloran asks about Will. Leroy is shocked to hear this because he never mentioned his family after coming to Derry, not even at work. After dinner, during a private conversation, Leroy says that when Halloran asked about Will, he felt something in his head, the same feeling he had when he was attacked that night. Halloran then explains his powers to Leroy. He reveals that the man who stood at a distance during the attack and did not kill Leroy was actually Halloran himself. Although he does not explain why, Halloran says that during the attack, none of the usual changes that occur in the human brain when facing death appeared in Leroy. This means that the part of the brain that generates fear does not function normally in him. Such people are very rare and special. Meanwhile, Lily, Ronnie, Rich, and will plan to capture some kind of supernatural evidence to save Ronnie's father, Hank. Hearing this plan, Rich says that his uncle used to summon spirits or ghosts in a similar way. He would light candles in the cemetery and perform rituals, and he had helped many people by doing so. Rich believes that if they try this method, they might be able to bring forth whatever Ronnie wants to photograph. So they go to the cemetery and attempt Rich's ritual to summon it. However, after trying for some time, nothing happens. Will jokes about the ghost, which makes Ronnie angry. Suddenly, strange things begin to happen around them. As they move forward, the road seems to stretch farther and farther away. This means that It, or Pennywise, has begun to influence the area. Pennywise continues haunting them, taking the forms of Ted, Phil, and Susie. Somehow, everyone manages to escape alive, but Will becomes trapped in one place. Then Will sees a clown's hand in the darkness, takes a picture of it, and flees with the others. After that, everyone goes to school and develops the camera pictures with Will's help. In the developed photos, they see images of dead Ted, Susie, and Phil. Not only that, in the last picture taken by Will, they clearly see Pennywise the dancing clown. Now they finally have evidence to save Ronnie's father, so they go to the police. However, when Chief Bowers looks at the pictures, he is shocked. At first, the pictures clearly show everything, but now all of them have turned blank, except for the image of the clown. The chief scares Lily away and dismisses them harshly. Meanwhile, Charlotte learns from the local newspaper that Hank has been arrested as a suspect in the disappearance of the children. Just then, Rose comes to deliver some home decoration items. In fact, Charlotte had ordered a few things from Rose's shop the previous day. While discussing the incidents involving the children of Derry, Rose gives Charlotte her phone number. Meanwhile, as Halloran had said earlier, she and her friends create a hangout spot in a storage room away from the camp, where no one will disturb them. The place is dirty because it has not been used for a long time, but they are still happy, as it feels much better than the elite base camp. However, a strange sense of unease continues to grow in Halloran's mind. When they return home, Will confronts Charlotte with the photographs and asks asks where they have been hiding and what they are planning to do. Will then tells her the entire story and hugs his mother in fear. After hearing her son's story, Charlotte promises Will that she will not tell his father about it. So when Leroy asks Will at the dinner table how his day went, Charlotte jokingly says that he has made a new girlfriend at school named Ronnie, as he feels embarrassed hearing this. And Charlotte asks Leroy to take Will somewhere to relax. The next day, Leroy takes Will fishing. They go there and have fun with Ronnie as well. At one point, when their fish fry runs out, Leroy goes to the car to get more. At that moment, Pennywise appears in a fiery form from beneath the water, terrifies Will, and pulls him underwater. Just like during the plane crash after the Korean War, Will's situation becomes extremely dangerous. He is almost dying when Leroy arrives in time and saves him. At first, Leroy thinks it was just an accident caused by Will, but his suspicion grows when he notices the strange scar on Will's hand and sees a red balloon floating on the riverbank. On the other hand, Charlotte meets with the police chief and argues that if children are still being attacked even after Hank's arrest, then they have arrested the wrong person. Charlotte requests to meet Hank based on this reasoning, but the chief refuses outright.